Hi, I'm Liam Higgins. I'm a AL on the OU module E117 to do health and fitness. And I've been doing this since 2008 as a part-time lecturer, coupled with my full-time work as a university lecturer, but maybe a bit more about that later on. So I'm going to go through my background, my educational background, my work background, a little bit how my career got started, then give you some general tips about how to get on, and to finish off with basically my advice of how to get a good career in sport and recreation management. So, how did it all start? Well, I went to university, Loughborough University. I was good at sport and I wanted to do sport, but I didn't particularly want to become a PE teacher, ironically enough. So my PE teacher said that there's a new course at Loughborough University and it's in recreation management. Now, I didn't know much about this, so I went up there, got interviewed, and I luckily got offered a place at Loughborough. But at the same time, to let you know, I did apply to become a PE teacher at Cardiff as well, in St Mary's. And again, I was lucky enough to get offered places there. So I was in a very privileged position where I could choose where I wanted to go. I'm not sure if that's the same nowadays, but that was certainly my experience. And just out of interest, I also applied to do chemistry, so I think at Hull University. And again, I was offered a place. So I was very, very fortunate to get offers. Anyway, in the end, I chose Loughborough, and I started there back in 1975, and did a 3-year degree, Bachelor of Science degree in PE, Sports Science and Recreation Management. In fact, we were the very first year at Loughborough to do degrees. Prior to that, it was Loughborough Colleges, it was a traditional PE college, but then they amalgamated with the Loughborough University of Technology and brought in a degree scheme. So I did my 3 years at Loughborough, and then I had to choose, do I want to carry on? We'll do the 4th year. And in the end, I chose to do a postgraduate certificate in education. So I am a qualified PE teacher. I did that as an insurance. I wasn't quite sure how I would get on with recreation management because it's a relatively new career then, new profession if you like. So I just wanted some backup, some insurance. So I did the 1-year postgrad course, which I really, really enjoyed. It's really good. But as I say, I was never really enamoured with the idea of becoming a teacher. So I didn't. So I applied for work in recreation management, initially at Cranley Recreation Centre in Surrey, and I was there for about a year. I was assistant manager there. I learned a hell of a lot there, my very first job. And going to be a tip later on is to really get involved, get networking, which I did, and it really helped me out. But in the end, I decided I want to move away from Cranley back to London. So I am a Londoner, and I missed London, so I want to get back. So I applied to work in Tower Hamlets at Wapping Sports Centre as a supervisor there, and I really enjoyed that job. One of my best jobs I've ever had, I got to be frank. I was there 4 years, probably a year too long. Should have stayed, should have moved on earlier. But I decided I really enjoyed it. I liked the lifestyle, I liked the work, I loved my colleagues, still friends with them now, and we really got on well. It was a brand new sports centre, and it was really exciting to be part of that new project. But I knew that I had to move on. I knew I had to develop my career. So I applied to become a manager at Poplar Baths in Tower Hamlets Council still. And I was lucky enough to get that job. Again, another big learning curve there because it was, up to that time, I hadn't done a lot of swimming pool management. Cranley had a swimming pool, so that was my introduction to that wet side of recreation management. But Poplar was the first time I was manager. And luckily, whilst I was at Cranley, I'd done the ISRM distance learning course. It's now called SIMSPA, Chartered Institute for Management in Sport and Activity, Physical Activity, sorry, SIMSPA. So I did the distance learning course. I did it by, well, similar to what you're doing now, but this was by post, snail mail. But I did it distance learning, and I passed my membership exams. And then I was lucky enough, when I was still at Wapping, by the way, to be given time out to attend day release course college in Lewisham College, Celtic they called it then. And then I did my diploma as well in 1 year. So again, very lucky to be able to give the opportunity to do that using my employer to pay for my training, which was really good. So I was at Poplar, again a challenging environment back in the 80s now, and I was working shift work as well, so similar at Wapping. And by then I was starting my family life. I got married. I think I was just starting to have my first child, and I decided I needed to move on and develop my career again. So within a couple of years from being at Poplar, I went for another job. This time at York Hall in Bethnal Green, which again similar borough, Tower Hamlets, but a larger facility. So again, I was manager there for 2 or 3 years. By then we did have children. We had a baby Johnny, and little Victoria was coming along. So I thought I can't really carry on doing too many of this shift work, nights and weekends. So a job opportunity came up at Lewisham College, Celtic, as I mentioned before, teaching the ISRM course as it was then, with a couple of colleagues there. Funnily enough, I went for the job, but I wasn't offered the job. I was second. Somebody else got offered the job. I won't mention who. But as it happens, my lucky day, he turned it down. When they approached him to confirm he wanted to work there, he actually said no. And I believe it was because he didn't want to move from where he was in the Midlands. Can't say too much more than that. But his decision not to apply was my good fortune, because they phoned me up and said, do I want to work at Lewisham at Celtic College? So of course immediately I said, of course, but I'll need a pay rise. It's an extra increment, because I knew they were probably quite desperate, and they gave me it. So very happy days. So then I got into lecturing. So that again, another learning curve. But I was very lucky. I had a really good mentor in Ron Steele there, and Mike Hilton. Really were helpful, and so I was able to develop my teaching skills pretty quickly. But bearing in mind, I had trained as a teacher, so I did have the sort of the background skills to do that. So I was at Celtic for a couple of years doing the ISRM courses, and then again opportunities were coming along, so I got other jobs. I was at Southgate College, again head of course leader of a BTEC courses there, and from there within a year or so I moved on to Eastleigh College down in Hampshire. Again, pure happen chance. I wanted to leave London. I wanted to raise a family outside London at the time, and I was just looking for work, and one came up at Eastleigh. I didn't know anything about it. I researched it obviously, but didn't know the area very well. But we went down there for a day. I looked around, I got interviewed, my wife was looking at the houses, and we both loved it. And 30 years later, we were still there. So anyway, I was working at Eastleigh for 8 years, long time, but I really enjoyed the work. But then the environment changed. I was looking to get another post, and I was again very lucky to get a job at Southampton Institute of Higher Education, where I was able to teach sport and recreation at HND level and a bit of degree level work. And then I was part of the group of 50 at Southampton Institute that became Southampton Solent University. So again, I was course leader there, teaching on Bachelor of Arts courses, sports studies, again HND in sport and recreation management, and my own creation, if you like, BA in events management. So I was course leader for 4 or 5 years. But then by about 2016, having been there for 17 years, I decided time to retire. I was 60, and my parents were quite poorly, our parents were quite poorly, so we decided to move back to London to help care for our parents, our mums in particular. And I never regretted that, but we couldn't carry on working. We weren't able to do working from home then, as you can now. You can do it now. But there you are. So I've been retired since 2016 and living in London, but I kept on with the OU work, which I found really, really stimulating, really enjoyed doing it. So that's my career background, if you like. So I started out planning to be a recreation manager, if you like, not a PE teacher, and I ended up becoming a lecturer in FE and HE. Ironically, so that wasn't planned. That's just one of the tips I was going to say. Take the opportunities that come along your way. You can't always plan it, but it's best to be prepared. So I was prepared, wasn't I? I did my postgrad cert ed. I got qualified as much as I could. I joined a professional institution, in this case ISRM, it's now called SimSpa. Again, I would recommend that you do something similar in the field that you want to be in. So you can network, and this is one of my big tips, get networking. And a great way to network is to join a professional body, as I said. Also is to volunteer. Do work experience or volunteer. I volunteered a lot in special events. So I did various work in Southampton, sports runs, charity runs. I worked at the charity days for sport, the Red Nosed days. I worked at the World Cup, 2015 Rugby World Cup. I also did some work at the Olympics as a security guard, believe it or not. Again, all these are opportunities that came along and I grabbed them both hands. And of course, by doing so, you meet people. You meet, it could be mentors, it could be allies for your future career. It could be just good mates, good friends, who help you, relax in good company. So yeah, get qualified, get networking. Another top tip is to get a social media profile. I know many of you have LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. You can look me up. And again, you can use it. I haven't, to be fair, but you can use it to network and get other work. But I use it mainly to keep network with my ex-students from Southampton, Southern, and elsewhere. So it's useful to do that. Okay. And finally, I think if I was going to ask my mentors to give me a tip, one said to me once, turn up for work early, be prepared to do some work, and work really hard. And if you do those things consistently, you will do well. And that's basically it. You get yourself in the position where you can utilize the skills, the OU qualifications that you're hoping to get, and do a great job. So that's it really. So if you want to get in touch with me, by all means do. I'm on LinkedIn. Look me up. It's Liam Higgins. You can't fail to find me, and I will promise I will reply. Good luck in your future careers, and God bless. Bye-bye.